Today, our topic is one of the Shakespeare's greatest tragedies, Othello. In the drama Othello, Othello is the protagonist and Iago is the antagonist, or Othello is the hero and Iago is the villain. So, uh, Iago is has a vital character in case of villainship, in case of mischievousness, in case of wickedness. Othello stands unparalleled to any other characters, to any other villains in not only English literature, but also in the whole world literature. So today we will simply talk about the introduction of Iago, the description of Iago, and the role he had played in the tragedy Othello. How he made the lives of the people of Othello very hated, very hateful, very poisonous, and venomous. So, without making any delay, let's go how Othello had been able to create anarchy, had been able to create lawlessness, how he had been able to make all the characters' lives into a tragedy. Okay, now let's talk about the character Othello in brief. Iago is a character in Shakespeare's Othello. He is a senior officer in the Venetian army under the command of its general Othello. Iago is very popular among the characters in the play. He is valued for his loyalty, and there is a consensus that he is very honest and straightforward. And in fact, he is repeatedly greeted as honest Iago and spoken of with the same language. All the characters turn to him for help and advice with their problems. Iago is very charming, very clever, very funny, and he is a great company. And right at the center of the military community on Cyprus, where the army has been sent to deter the Turks from an attack on Venice, he lends a sympathetic ear to everyone as they pour out their problems to him and solicit his help. What they don't know is that he is actually the cause of their problems, and that the more information they give him, the more ammunition they are supplying him with to be used against them. The characters' qualities listed above that I have told at the intro of my video are all fake, completely fake, absolutely fake. What I have told in the introduction of my video on Othello is not real, is not genuine, rather it is fake. The original character, the genuine character, the authentic, the bona fide features of the character of Othello is that he is, in fact, hypocritical, he is manipulative, he is cruel, he is unsympathetic, he is vicious, and in fact, he is murderous. Iago is a very modern character in that he has been diagnosed by critics as a psychopath or a sociopath or an extreme narcissist. In my another video, I will try to tell you about who is a psychopath or who is a sociopath or who is an extreme narcissist. Remarkably, Shakespeare created that character some 400 years before psychologists began to describe the characteristics of psychopaths and sociopaths. Iago's behavior is very much like a case history of what we would recognize as a psychopath. Iago's symptoms, if one talk about his character in that way, are that he is devoid of any conscience and any antipathy. He sees other human beings only as objects that can be maneuvered, that can be moved around according to where he wants to place them. And whatever their suffering is as a result of his manipulations, Iago feels no remorse, no repentance at all for them. Iago sets out to destroy Othello. The question that we can't help asking is why? Why why does Iago set out to destroy Othello? It is not only Othello who is destroyed, but several other characters too, although Othello is his main target in the tragedy Othello written by William Shakespeare. The answer is that it's not very clear. What is clear is that he or Iago enjoys the sufferings of others, even though he may not want to get anything out of it apart from pleasure. On two occasions, his soliloquies offer some insight, but only confuse his motives further. At one point, he suggests that Othello has slept with his wife Emilia, although that's easily dismissible, that's easily refutable. At another point, he reveals some bitterness that he has been overlooked for promotion when Michael Cassio is made second in command instead. It is better not to search for reasons but simply to accept that Iago just wants to destroy the happiness of others, and this is the main feature of a psychopath or of a narcissist or a sociopath. Now let's see the relation between Iago and the Othello plot. The action centers on his plot against Othello. As it advances, the other characters are drawn in. Othello, a black man, has gained the love of Desdemona, the daughter of a wealthy citizen. They marry in secret, and although that is frowned upon by the city authorities, Othello is a military hero and Venice is in deep trouble. Othello is the only man who can stop an invasion by the Turks, so they let his behavior pass and even give permission for Desdemona to accompany the troops to Cyprus. Iago decides that the way to destroy Othello is by convincing him that Desdemona is being unfaithful to him. He will kill two birds with one stone and make Othello believe that the man she is being unfaithful with is Michael Cassio. Knowing that Cassio's weak point is that he reacts both badly to alcohol. Iago makes him drunk in a pub and Cassio becomes aggressive and violent. Othello intervenes and demotes Cassio. Cassio appeals to Desdemona to ask Othello to reinstate him. Iago pretends to be Cassio's friend and advisor in that. Cassio, in Othello's mind, he works hard on that and maneuvers evidence of the affair. Othello reveals his weak point, which is jealousy. He goes mad with jealousy and, encouraged by Iago, finally strangles Desdemona. When he is made to see that it is Iago's villainy that has brought this tragedy about and that Desdemona was innocent, he kills himself. Iago is arrested and taken back to Venice, where he is to be imprisoned and tortured for what he has done. Simply, that's all in brief about the character Iago in the great tragedy Othello. Now, let us have some common questions about Iago in the tragedy Othello. Is Iago, question number one, is Iago in love with Desdemona? The answer is Iago is not in love with Desdemona. He tries to understand why he wants to destroy Othello beyond an irrational hatred of him. He suggests that Othello has slept with his wife at one point. At another point, he bemoans the fact that he has been overlooked for promotion, and he briefly considers that he may be in love with his Desdemona, but dismisses that very quickly. Question 2: is Iago in love with Othello? There is no suggestion whatsoever in the play that Iago might be in love with Othello. Question 3: why was Iago jealous? The answer is Iago is not jealous of anyone. He has a personality problem in that he takes delight in making people suffer and watching that suffering. All his efforts are directed towards that. That means he is a narcissist, he is a sadist, he is a psychopath. Question Next question: why does Iago kill his wife? The answer is, at the climax of the play, it is Iago's wife, Emilia, who exposes him. After Othello has strangled Desdemona and the Venetian councillors are trying to understand what has happened, Emilia accuses Iago. He tells her to be quiet and go home. But she becomes even more vociferous. Iago takes out his sword and kills her. Question number: does Iago die, and who kills Iago? The answer is Iago does not die in the play. While his main victims die, he survives. He is taken back to Venice and imprisoned. So that's all simply about some questions on Iago in the tragedy Othello by William Shakespeare. Now let's have some important quotes uttered by the mischievous villain Iago. For whom my outward action doth demonstrate the native act and figure of my heart at once in one. In compliment externed is not long after, but I will wear my heart upon my sleeve, for dues to take it. I am not what I am, act once in one. Put money in thy purse, act one, scene 3. Virtue, a pig. It is in ourselves that we are thus or thus. Act one, scene 3. I hate the moor, and it is thought abroad that twixt my cheeks has done my office. I know not if it be true, but I, for mere suspicion in that kind, will do as if for surety. Act one, scene 3. When devils will take blackest sins put on, they do just at first with heavenly shows. Act 2, scene 3. And what's he then that says, I play the villain? Act 2, scene 3. Simply, that's all about the important quotations uttered by Othello, the most villainous, most mischievous, most narcissist, most sadist, most psychopath character in the tragedies of William Shakespeare, Othello by name. And though Othello is a fictional character in Shakespeare's Othello, Iago is the play's main antagonist and Othello's standard bearer, that means flag bearer. He is the husband of Emilia, who is in turn the attendant of Othello's wife, Desdemona. Iago hates Othello and devises a plan to destroy him by making him believe that Desdemona is having an affair with his lieutenant Michael Cassio. The role is thought to have been first played by Robert Ermine, who typically played intelligent clown roles like Touchstone in As You Like It and Feisty in Twelfth Night. Now let's see what's the role of Othello in the play. What's the role of Iago in the play Othello? Iago is a soldier who had just fought beside Othello for several years and has become his trusted advisor. At the beginning of the play, Iago claims to have been unfairly passed over for promotion to the rank of Othello's lieutenant in favor of Michael Cassio. Iago plots to manipulate Othello into demoting Cassio, and therefore to bring about the downfall of Othello. uh, himself and also others in the play who trusted Iago. He has an ally, Rodrigo, who assists him in his plans in the mistaken belief that after Othello is gone, Iago will help Rodrigo earn the affection of Othello's wife, Desdemona. After Iago engineers a drunken brawl to ensure Cassio's demotion in Act 2, he sets to work on the second scheme, leading Othello to believe that Desdemona is having an affair with Cassio. This plan occupies the final three acts of the play. He manipulates his wife Emilia, Desdemona's lady in waiting, into taking from Desdemona a handkerchief that Othello had given him. He then tells Othello that he had seen it in Cassio's possession. Once Othello flies into a jealous rage, Iago tells him to hide and look on while Iago, talks to Cassio. Iago then leads Othello to believe that a bawdy conversation about Cassio's mistress Bianca is in fact about Desdemona. Mad with jealousy, Othello orders Iago to kill Cassio, promising to make him his lieutenant in return. Iago then engineers a fight between Cassio and Rodrigo, in which the latter is killed by Iago himself, double crossing his ally, but the former merely wounded. Iago's plan appears to succeed when Othello kills Desdemona, who is innocent of Iago's charges. Soon afterwards, however, Emilia brings Iago's treachery to light and Iago kills her in a fit of rage before being arrested. He remains famously reticent when pressed for an explanation of his actions before he is arrested. Demand me nothing. What you know, you know. From this time forth, I never will speak word. Following Othello's suicide, Cassio, now in charge, condemns Iago to be imprisoned and tortured as punishment for his crime. Now let's have a description of the character Iago. Iago is one of Shakespeare's most sinister villains, often considered such because of the unique trust that Othello places in him, which he betrays while maintaining his reputation for honesty and dedication. Shakespeare contrasts Iago with Othello's nobility and integrity. With 1097 lines, Iago has more lines in the play than Othello himself. Iago is a Machiavellian schemer, planner, a manipulator, as he is often referred to as honest Iago, displaying his skill at deceiving other characters so that not only do they not suspect him, but they count on him as the person most likely to be truthful. Shakespearean greatest, one of the greatest critics, S.C. Bradley said that evil has nowhere else been portrayed with such mastery as in the evil character of Iago, and also states that he stands supreme among Shakespeare's evil characters because the greatest intensity and subtlety of imagination have gone into his making. The mystery surrounding Iago's actual motives continue to intrigue readers and fuel a scholarly debate. Now, let's have some critical discussion on the character of Iago. In discussing the tragedy of Othello, scholars have long debated Iago's role, highlighting the complexity of his character and his manipulativeness. Fred West contends that Shakespeare was not content with simply portraying another stock morality figure, and that he, like many dramatists, was particularly interested in the workings of the human mind. Thus, according to West, Iago, who sees nothing wrong with his own behavior, is an accurate portrait of a psychopath who is devoid of conscience with no repentance. West believes that Shakespeare had observed that there exist perfectly sane people in whom fellow feeling of any kind is extremely weak, while egoism is virtually absolute, and thus he made Iago. Bradley writes that Iago illustrates in the most perfect combination the two facts concerning evil, which seems to have impressed Shakespeare the most. The first being that the fact that perfectly sane people exist in whom fellow feeling of any kind is so weak that an almost absolute egoism becomes possible to them. With the second being that such evil is compatible and even appears to ally itself easily with exceptional powers of will and intellect. The same critic also famously said that to compare Iago with the Satan of Paradise Lost seems almost absurd. So immensely does Shakespeare's man exceed Milton's print in evil. Weston Babcock, however, would have readers see Iago as a human being shrewdly intelligent, suffering from and striking against a constant fear of social snobbery. According to Babcock, it is not malice but fear that drives Iago. For Iago dates his maturity as he considers it his ability to understand the world from the age at which he recognized every remark to be personally pointed. Only one who lacks inner assurance and is so constantly on guard against any hint on his inferiority could so confess himself. John Draper, on the other hand, postulates that Iago is simply an opportunist who cleverly grabs the occasion, spurred on by the keenest of professional and personal motives. Draper argues that Iago seized occasions rather than made them. According to his theory, Iago is the first cause, but events once underway pass out of his control. Following this logic, Draper concludes that Iago is neither as clever nor as wicked as some would think, and the problem of his character largely resolves itself in the question: was he justified in embarking upon the initial stages of his revenge? Now let's see what was the motives behind Iago's action on Othello. Iago has been described as a motiveless malignity by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, one of the five greatest romantic English poets. This reading would seem to suggest that Iago, much like Don John in Much Ado About Nothing or Aaron in Titus Andronicus, wreaks havoc on the other characters' lives for no ulterior purpose. Leon Tissandier writes that a possible motive for Iago's actions is envy towards Desdemona, Cassio, and Othello. Iago sees them as more noble, generous, and in the case of Cassio, more handsome than he is. In particular, he sees the death of Cassio as a necessity, saying of him that he hath a daily beauty in his life that makes me ugly. Andy Serkis, who in 2002 portrayed Iago at the Royal Exchange Theatre in Manchester, wrote in his memoir Ghulam, How We Made Movie Magic, that there are a million theories to Iago's motivations, but I believed that Iago was once a good soldier, a great man's man to have around, a bit of a laugh, who feels betrayed, gets jealous of his friend, wants to mess it up with for him, enjoys causing him pain, makes a choice to channel all his creative energy into the destruction of this human being, and becomes completely addicted to the power he wields over him. I didn't want to play him as initially malevolent. He is not the devil. He is you or me feeling jealous and not being able to control our feelings. Iago reveals his true nature only in his soliloquies and in occasional asides. Elsewhere, he is charismatic and friendly, and the advice he offers to both Cassio and Othello is superficially sound, as Iago himself remarks. And what's he then that says I play the villain? When this advice is free, I give. I'm honest. It is this dramatic irony that drives the play. In Giuseppe Verdi's Othello, an 1887 operatic adaptation of the play, Iago reveals his theology in his Act 2, Iari, Credo in an Dio Crudel, which has no counterpart in Shakespeare's original. He does believe in a God, but a cruel God who created him in his likeness, and that evil he does to fulfill his destiny. He also enunciates in the area that he believes an honest man to be a mocking actor about whom everything is a lie and that mankind is simply a joke of iniquitous fate. So that's simply all about the character, the multifaceted, the various sided, villainous, mischievous, brutal, psychopath, sadist, manipulative, engineering, intriguing, cheating character Iago. Lastly, I'd like to tell one thing about Iago is that be aware of Iago because Iago is everywhere. No, to destroy not only the lives of Othello, Desdemona, Bianca, Cassio, or anybody else, but he is everywhere to destroy you and to destroy me. It is the jealousy of in the heart of every human being. That is the representation of uh, Iago. So be aware of Iago. And lastly, I want to tell you that only Facebook or YouTube cannot give you the complete knowledge. You have to study regularly for your complete knowledge. And that's why I'd like to thank you all for your patient hearing and listening to this video and for the sharing. Thank you, Bye, for listening to the one of the greatest mischievous, villainous character, Iago, in the play William Shakespeare. Thank you, Bye.